Well, Happy New Year, everybody. I guess it feels a little weird. It's not quite a calendar new year, but for us it is the beginning of the new liturgical year. So that is one strange way that we are celebrating now. And of course, I'm delighted to be back with you again after 2 weeks away. I had a wonderful time restoring, recharging, resting, and other words that begin with R. But I'm glad to be back with you as well now. This season is one of those that engage fully in that push-pull between the church and the culture, whatever the culture is, that sort of aquarium we all swim through, where we don't even know all of the many factors of the world that press in on us, that affect us. But we have this tension between Advent in the church, which is a time of reflection and quiet, preparation, prayerful meditation, all that wonderful stuff. And the frenzy that is out there with parades and shopping and sales and excitement. We just had Black Friday a couple days ago. We had Thanksgiving, this wonderful, it is a feast day in the church, a harvest festival, but also a time of togetherness and family, and of course a nice fair dose of drama and excitement as well. But we have that tension between all of that excitement that's out there in the culture and this impulse to have that quiet, meditative, preparatory season as well. And that can put us in a hard spot as Christians. I visited my seminary on the way back up from Florida. We actually had coffee with an old liturgy professor of mine, and it was very fun to think about all of the ways that the church continues to push back and remember the days of the Advent Grinch. My doctrine professor became kind of known for that, and it was a fun thing for the seminarians to decorate his office door with all of the Christmas kits you could possibly find, and do it as early as possible just to rankle him. Now, that wasn't this professor we were visiting, but remembering those days and how the church is constantly trying to push back. And what I have come to decide as a person who lives in the culture as well, like you all, and a mom and a spouse and all of those things, trying to deny the culture, I think, is less productive. I could really get angry that the Christ child has been in the fountain already since, November 1st? But I could say, well, what a wonderful acknowledgement that there is a Christ child at all. How lovely that there is this enthusiasm and this celebration, and maybe we can try to steer that towards some more peace on earth, goodwill towards all, that warm, giving feeling that the culture is trying to encourage, even if it does just drive sales up a little bit more. But I joke that it's commercialness. It's not quite Christmas. That Christmas begins at sundown on the 24th, and it's the beginning of a 12-day festival, but don't worry, we'll get there. You'll get to hear that rant another time. But that tension between the church and the culture is real, just like that tension between light and darkness is real. We hear Jesus today warning us, be on your guard so that your hearts are not weighed down with dissipation and drunkenness and the worries of this life, and that day catch you unexpectedly like a trap. Now, dissipation is not something that I normally fall victim to. I don't even know quite what dissipation is. Drunkenness, well, I do have my moments, but generally I'm a fairly sober person. But worry, oh man, I'm a really good worrier. And Jesus is there saying, don't let that worry weigh you down. And that, my friends, is a tall order. Because even in the frenzy, the excitement of the Christmas preparation, whether it's the sort of secular commercialness holiday that is happening, or even ourselves trying to observe this in a fully engaged way, really diving into Advent, that worry is there. And the worry is not limited just to preparation. The worry rears its ugly head every time there is something awful that happens. And gosh, there is a lot of that happening too. Even in those moments where you think you can fully focus on the joy and the splendor and the excitement of the season, something can happen. I was with my family on Sunday night last week, and we were hanging around in this beautiful condominium with the weather outside being great. And yes, we were all on our phones, going through Facebook, sharing memes and discussing things that we found. And someone said, "Oh my God, a truck drove into the Christmas parade." Because we're all from Waukesha. My sister and brother-in-law especially still have high school friends that live there, that they all live in Waukesha still. We live in Michigan now. And then that turned to the horror of scrolling through and finding the videos and the commentary and what on earth happened. It was horrible. And we were hundreds of miles away. But then checking on friends that we knew were there, seeing who was marked safe from the Christmas parade, that's a terrible thing. See, that darkness will find a way to remind us that it's there. And as Christians, sometimes people accuse Christians of being naive, that we somehow don't know that the world is a bad and dangerous place at times. That the only way we could possibly love the world and serve the world and pray for the world is because we don't really know what the world is like. And that's actually not true. Because we follow a Savior who was crucified by the world. We have seen what the world will do to somebody who is here to help. And whether it's a dramatic thing like gathering for a Christmas parade and then that rude and violent and horrible interruption, or it's something more subtle, like waiting for those test results that you're dreading, or watching a loved one deteriorate in old age, seeing a relationship with someone you love fall apart, watching a child you love struggle with addiction. I mean, the world is plenty complicated and dark enough, thank you very much. We don't need someone saying, "Well, you Christians, you don't even know what the world really is," because we do. The difference is that we love and serve the world in spite of that. And the reason is because of Jesus. Because he came to love and serve the world also. He showed us how. And because of that, we reject the darkness and put on the armor of light. If we didn't think the world was that dark and bad, we would not need armor. But we do. And we put it on so that we can go out and do a better job of pushing back against the darkness, of loving and serving, of making this world better and bearing witness to the light of Christ. And we saw evidence of that also on Sunday night. Now, you probably heard about the parade on the news. You weren't friends with people who were there. But because of that, it may have been a delay, or you may not have heard about the good that happened afterward. The parish priest at the church I grew up in, that is at the beginning of the parade route, that opened the doors and let people in so that they could have a safe place to wait, that helped people connect. There were children that were in the parade that were separated from their parents because, we know how parades work, right? The parents are at the end waiting for their kids, and then this happens, and they don't know what's happening. Well, those kids had a safe place to be and to try to connect with frantic parents while the shelter-in-place order was there. The daughter of the parish priest that's there now did her level best to entertain the kids that were frightened, to bring some relief to that panic, that fear. And that is the church at its best, being a haven and a joy in times that are legitimately terrible. And then hearing other stories of Waukesha just being amazing. I went to Waukesha South High School, which is the high school of the band that was more severely injured as they walked. I saw a picture from Arrowhead High School, which is a rival high school, dressing in our colors and playing our fight song. The Waukesha South and North and West joined together last night for a bonfire. So South and West and North are all rivals, but they gathered together. And that is humanity at its best. See, that light is there too. And our job is to remember that light, take that light, own it, and use it to strengthen all of us together against that darkness. Not to pretend the darkness doesn't exist, because the darkness will remind you in the rudest and most violent of ways. But when we are bolstered by that light, strengthened, then we can go out and do some real good. But the first thing we need to do is not let that darkness rob us of hope. There's a reason that this season is happening at the darkest time of the year. Even nature is reminding us that darkness is real. We tried to go, when we were in Sewanee at seminary, we tried to go and show Phoebe around the town and the campus. And we did, but it was dark because the sun sets there at 4:30. Nature is saying, yeah, it's dark. But we still find ways to bear witness to the light. So this season, this new year, you can look for ways to find that light and to magnify it, amplify it, celebrate it, share it. It's one of those wonderful things that when you bear witness to that light, it somehow gets passed on, shared with the people around you. And we do it in prayer, we do it in service, we do it in hospitality, we do it in joy and laughter, and being silly, taking risks, loving when there isn't an excuse or a reason or a selfish motivation just because love is there. This season is a time to refresh ourselves in that. To tell the truth about the world, the light and the dark, but to choose the light, put it on ourselves. Give thanks to God for helping us to connect to that, and go out into the world and share that light. There's no mistake that this season begins with this theme of light and dark, which is very sort of creation-y, right? Talking about that light that God says, let there be light, and the darkness did not overcome it. Well, on Christmas Day, we read from the beginning of the Bible again. Well, it's a refreshing of that, really. In John 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. We know that first word that was spoken was, let there be light. So let there be light now in you, around you, among you, over you, underneath you, everywhere. Let the darkness try, but knowing that the darkness will not overcome, because the light doesn't come from us. The light comes from God. And we can do no better than to bear witness and shine as much as we can. Amen.